today is a massive departure from our usual format. I mean, a huge one. Today, we aren't just here to think. We are here to do.
That is right. And I think it's an exciting shift. We're looking at a specific skill, and it's derived from a source by English Trisence.
Okay.
The source material itself is incredibly concise. Deceptively so, you might say. It focuses on something we all do, dozens of times a day?
Oh, easily.
Often without thinking about it at all. Agreement and decision-making. But the promise the source makes is, well, it's bold. It claims to teach indispensable English sentences for this purpose in less than 30 seconds.
Less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I have to admit, when I first read that, I was skeptical. I mean, that just screams marketing gimmick, right?
It does.
But as we dug into the methodology that's kind of implied by the source, we realized that the 30 seconds isn't about the total time you spend learning. It's about the intensity of the focus.
Exactly.
And to make those 30 seconds actually count, to make that information indispensable and, permanent, we have to do something that feels a little counterintuitive. We have to slow down.
Way down.
Way, way down.
Precisely. And to truly acquire this tool, we're going to adopt a specialized persona for this deep dive. We aren't just your hosts today.
No.
We are your tutors. We're your coaches. The source material highlights this concept, 3 indispensable sentences, but it really centers heavily on one specific, very powerful tool for agreement.
And our mission?
Our mission is to make sure that by the time you finish this session, that tool is a permanent part of your linguistic arsenal.
I love this concept. So, listener, I really need you to make a mental shift right now. If you're washing dishes, if you're driving to work, if you're on the treadmill, don't just have us on in the background.
Please don't. This is active.
This isn't passive background noise. We are entering a classroom environment. It's a classroom that is hyper-focused on efficiency. Our goal is to master specific English phrasing used for agreement and decision-making. We're going to drill this until it feels like second nature.
And to achieve that mastery, we are going to use a method that is, well, it's heavily implied by the rigorous focus of the source material. It's a method used by polyglots and professional interpreters all over the world. It's called the shadowing technique.
Okay, let's unpack this before we start the actual drills.
Yeah.
Shadowing, it sounds a bit mysterious, doesn't it? Maybe even a little espionage adjacent.
Yeah.
But in the context of language learning, it is an absolute powerhouse. For anyone listening who might be hearing this term for the very first time, what exactly are we talking about here?
Shadowing is a language learning technique where you listen to a text and you repeat it immediately. But, and this is really the crucial distinction, it's not just repetition. It is mimicking. You are trying to copy everything. The speed, the intonation, the rhythm, the emotion, even the specific mouth movements of the speaker.
So it's different from what I remember from like high school French class, the old listen and repeat tapes.
Completely different. In those, you listened, you processed the grammar in your head, and then you spoke. With shadowing, the gap is much, much shorter. The focus is on the physicality of the sound.
So it's less about intellectualizing the word and more about muscle memory, kind of like practicing a golf swing or a free throw in basketball.
That is the perfect analogy, exactly. It bridges that gap between passive listening and active speaking. We hear it all the time from learners, don't we? They say, I can understand movies, I can read books, but when I try to speak, my tongue just feels heavy. I stumble.
Yeah, the brain-to-mouth connection is just not there.
That is the gap. It's the gap between the auditory cortex and the motor cortex. Shadowing literally trains the muscles in your mouth, your tongue, your throat to move in English ways they might not be used to. It improves fluency because you're not stopping to think about the grammar rules.
You're just feeling the flow.
You're feeling the flow. And crucially for our source material today, it locks in pronunciation.
That aha moment.
Yeah.
That's what we're chasing, right? The moment where the word stops feeling foreign and starts feeling like it's yours.
That's the one.
Okay.
Oh.
So here's how this deep dive is going to work. Listener, I need you to pay very close attention to these instructions because we're going to be really strict about the format to get the best results.
Yes. We're going to focus on the key phrase from our source. I will act as your lead tutor, and I am going to read the key word or phrase extremely slowly.
And he means it.
I mean, painfully, exaggeratedly slow. I'm going to articulate every single syllable so you can really hear the, let's call it the atomic structure of the word.
And after he does that, there is going to be a silence, a deliberate pause of about 3 to 4 seconds. That silence is for you. That is your cue to speak out loud.
Yes, out loud.
Don't just whisper it. Don't just think it in your head.
Yeah.
You need to vibrate your vocal cords. You need to actually say it.
Then, to reinforce it, I will repeat the phrase a second time. We call this the sandwich method. Your attempt is sandwiched right between two correct examples. This helps your brain self-correct almost immediately. It cements the pronunciation.
Okay, so to recap, you listen to the slow version. You pause and speak into the silence. You listen again to the reinforcement. We are going to do this loop multiple times. It might feel repetitive.
It will.
But I promise you that repetition is the point. We are building a reflex.
So shall we begin the contextual setup?
Let's do it. We're diving into the source from English Trisence. And the theme here is agreement and decision-making. Now, just broadly speaking, why is this specific area of communication so vital?
Well, just think about the mechanics of your daily life. Communication is, at its core, a series of negotiations. Where do you want to eat? Can you have that report done by Friday? Should we take the highway or the back roads?
Right.
I mean, how many times a day do you have to confirm a plan? How often does someone propose an idea and you need to signal quickly, efficiently, and clearly that you're on board?
Constantly. It's the grease that keeps the gears of, social and professional interaction turning.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good way to agree, everything just grinds.
Yeah.
It grinds to a halt.
It grinds to a halt, exactly. And the source identifies this language as indispensable. That's a strong word. It's not just useful or helpful.
Oh, it's a dispensable.
It implies that without these tools, you are fundamentally handicapped in the conversation. If you don't have these specific tools, you're often left just, nodding your head.
Or saying okay or yes.
And those are fine, but they're weak. They don't convey professional commitment or decisive social agreement.
Right. Okay. Can just mean I heard you. It doesn't necessarily mean I am committed to this course of action. And the source specifically zooms in on decision-making. It's not just about acknowledgement. It's about creating a contract of sorts, a verbal handshake.
That is the perfect image, a verbal handshake. And that brings us to the absolute core item from our source material. The word we are mastering today is agreed.
Agreed. It seems so simple on the surface. One word. 2 syllables. But in the context of the source, this word is the heavyweight champion of decision-making.
It is. Let's look at why before we actually drill it. Grammatically, it's a past participle, but it functions here almost as an adjective or a standalone interjection. It's a shortening of it is agreed or we have agreed. But functionally, it's definitive. If I ask, shall we proceed, and you say yes, well, that's an affirmation. If you say agreed, that is a binding decision. It implies a shared state of mind. It implies the negotiation is over and the action phase has begun.
It just feels so much more professional. It feels like, we've looked at the evidence, we've debated the proposal, and we have reached a consensus. It closes the loop.
Precisely. It closes the loop. So we are going to apply the shadowing technique to this specific word. We need to master the phonetics. Because it's such a short word, there's nowhere to hide. If your pronunciation is off, it loses all its power.
Okay, tutor mode, engaged. Let's really look at the sounds here. What is happening inside the mouth when we say this word?
Okay, there are 2 syllables. Agreed. The stress is heavily on that second syllable. Let's look at the first sound. It's an A, but it is not pronounced I, like in apple.
Ah, okay.
It's a schwa sound. It's a very short, very neutral, It comes right from the throat. Almost lazy. Ugh.
So it's not agreed, it's agreed.
Correct. It's almost a throwaway sound.
Yeah.
The real energy of the word is all in the second part. The second syllable starts with that consonant cluster,
V.
a G. You need to feel that transition from the back of the throat G sound to the rolling R. And then the vowel sound stretches out. It is a long E sound. Gree. You should feel your mouth widening, almost like you're pulling it into a smile.
And the landing. What about the end of the word?
This is critical. It ends with a definitive D sound. You cannot swallow that D. It has to be there to mark the word as complete. It's what we call a voiced stop. Agreed. Duh. It's subtle, but if you leave it off, you say agree, which sounds like you're starting a sentence you haven't finished.
Right.
Agreed puts a period at the end of the thought.
Okay, I can visualize it now. Low energy start, then a high energy middle with that smile agree, and then a hard stop at the end.
That's it.
Listener, get ready. We're going to start the drill. Remember the rules. My colleague is going to say it extremely slowly. Then silence. That is your turn. Then he says it again. Speak loudly. Clear your throat. Sit up straight. Here we go.
Agreed.
How did that feel? I want you to focus specifically on that final D. Did you hit it? Or did it just sort of fade away into nothing. Let's try to focus on the transition between the A and the G this time.
Yes.
It should be smooth. You shouldn't stop your breath between the syllables. It's one single unit.
Correct. It is a continuous flow of air. Agreed. Let's try it again. And this time, I want you to focus on the intonation. Because this is a decision, the pitch of your voice should fall slightly at the end to show finality.
Oh, that's a great point.
If your pitch goes up, agreed, you sound like you're asking a question. You sound unsure. We want certainty here. It is a statement, a declaration.
Let's go for round 2. Listener, match the tone. Confidence. Finality. A downward inflection.
Agreed.
I really hope you're actually doing this out loud. I know it can feel strange. If you're on the bus or the train, okay, maybe whisper it. But make sure your tongue is moving. You need to feel the vibration in your teeth on that ease sound. Gree.
Let's discuss the context usage again to deepen that mental connection. The source ties this directly to decision-making. So imagine you're in a negotiation. The other party says, we will lower the price by 10% if you sign the contract today. You want to say yes. You want to seal the deal immediately before they change their minds.
You look them right in the eye. You don't just nod. You don't say, okay, sure. You say the word.
Yeah.
It signals you're an equal partner in this deal. You're decisive.
Exactly. That is the feeling we want to capture in this next shadowing cycle. You are making a decision. You are committing. I want you to imagine you are slamming a gavel down on a desk. That's the energy.
Let's do it. Cycle 3, usage emphasis. Put some real weight behind it this time.
Agreed. There is something so satisfying about that word when you say it with intent, isn't there?
There is.
It's concise, it's clean, it fits the source's promise perfectly of being learned in less than 30 seconds.
It does. It's efficient. And that brings us to the broader structure that's mentioned in the source material. The source refers to 3 indispensable sentences. Right. We've gone really deep on agreed, which is obviously the star of the show here. But the concept of having 3 indispensable sentences is a strategy in itself. I mean, why 3? Why not 10? Or why not just 1?
It's the strategy of the triad. In cognitive science and in linguistics, grouping things in 3s makes them much easier to remember and, crucially, to retrieve under pressure.
Oh.
The brain loves patterns, and 3 is the smallest number you need to create a pattern. When you're learning a language, you often feel overwhelmed, right? You're searching for words in this chaotic mental library.
Oh, totally. The brain freeze. I've been there. You know exactly what you want to say in your native language. You have the concept in your head, but the English translation is just buffering. You're stuck.
Exactly that. The source suggests having a go-to kit, a little survival kit for agreement. By identifying agreed as one of these indispensable tools, you reduce the cognitive load. You don't have to construct a complex sentence like, I am also of the opinion that this is a good idea.
No, you just deploy the tool.
You just deploy the tool.
Agreed.
Agreed.
It's like having a keyboard shortcut for your mouth. You know, Command S for save, agreed for decision made.
That is a perfect analogy, a keyboard shortcut for your mouth. And the source emphasizes the speed of acquisition, less than 30 seconds. This suggests that language learning doesn't always have to be about, these hour-long lectures on grammar rules. It can be about micro-learning.
Micro-learning. I like that. Taking one small nugget like we're doing today and just polishing it until it shines. It feels achievable.
And that is precisely why the shadowing technique is so effective for this type of source material. You can learn the definition of a word in 1 second, but to learn the usage and the sound so that it becomes indispensable, that takes the 30 seconds of intense, focused practice we just applied.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, the source isn't just teaching us a word. It's teaching us a whole mindset for decision-making in English. It's saying, be decisive, be concise, be prepared.
Yes, and it invites us, and you, the listener, to look for those other indispensable sentences in your own learning. If agreed is the anchor for formal decision-making, what constitutes your personal triad? Perhaps sounds good for casual plans, or I'm in for volunteering for something. But for today, based on our source, agreed is the anchor. It is the one that carries the most professional and social weight.
I want to do one more round of the drill. Just one more. Because I want you, the listener, to walk away from this deep dive with this word absolutely locked in. I want to simulate a slightly different environment this time.
A wise idea. Repetition is the mother of skill. What's the scenario?
Okay, this time, I want the listener to imagine a social scenario, not a business one. You've just finished a long, maybe slightly frustrating discussion with a friend about where to go on vacation.
I know this discussion.
We all do. You've debated the pros and cons of the mountains versus the beach. You've looked at budgets. You finally settle on a destination. The friend says, so we go to Italy.
Oh, a resolution.
And you say, with a sense of relief and finality.
No.
Okay, good. Yeah. Now, let's try it at a slightly more natural speed. Don't rush the pronunciation, but just tighten the gap a little. The friend says, so we go to Italy.
Agree.
Perfect. It feels good, doesn't it? It feels finished. It feels like the plan is finally set in stone.
And that is the power of this source material. It takes a simple concept agreement and it boils it down to its most potent, its most efficient form. By mastering this one word, you really do improve your ability to navigate decisions in English significantly.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've taken this tiny snippet from English Trisence, a video that promises indispensable language in under 30 seconds, and we stretched it out to really understand the mechanics behind it.
We have. We've used the shadowing technique to turn what was a passive piece of vocabulary into a very active tool. We've broken down the phonetics, that initial schwa, the long E, the final D. We've analyzed the prosody, the falling intonation of certainty, and we've contextualized it as a powerful tool for decision-making.
The key takeaway here, I think, is that mastery isn't about knowing a million words. It's about knowing the right words and knowing them so well that you don't even have to think about them.
Yeah.
And agreed is now one of those words for you.
It is indispensable. And remember, the goal of this session was not just to inform, but to train. You have done the work, you have put in the reps, your mouth has made the shapes.
Absolutely. So here's my challenge to you. For the rest of today, whenever you reach a decision, whether it's with a colleague, a partner, or even just talking to yourself about what you're going to have for lunch, use the word.
Say it out loud, feel the intonation, agreed. Even if you are just agreeing with yourself to finally go to the gym, I will go to the gym after work.
Agreed.
Agreed.
And keep practicing the shadowing technique. You don't need us to do it. You could do it with movies, with news broadcasts, with anything. Listen, pause, repeat, match the speaker.
Consistency is the key. You have the tool now. It's up to you to keep it sharp.
Thank you for joining us on this very specialized deep dive. It was a bit different, bit more hands-on, but I think we all learned something incredibly valuable today. We moved from being passive listeners to active speakers.
Indeed, we did. We learned that sometimes the smallest words carry the most weight.
Agreed.
Agreed.
We'll see you next time. Use your new word and stay curious.
Goodbye for now.